Welcome to Dan ARG YouTube. Emmanuel Agbogun dey talk about the Edo State government and the Benin traditional rulers. Make I leave you with Emmanuel, make you for hear the message.
Okay, if the sound is okay and you can hear me now, I'm very clear. Okay, that's good, that's good. We're getting it direct. I was wanting my voice to be very loud this evening. So what I'll be asking of you, for those of us who are watching, we're over 50 persons watching now. I really love we share this broadcast. I really love we place our hands on the share button so we can actually share this broadcast on many platforms. We can do better. I believe very many persons are out of work, and we can actually talk to ourselves better this evening. So if you are watching with me, okay, thank you, Pa Agis. Thank you. I appreciate your concern. I think the network is doing better now. Thank you. I want to appreciate your concern. Thank you. Thank you if you're watching. Yes, if you're watching with me, obviously I would have thrown the lines open for very many persons to call in this evening, but my phones, while on my way back from Port Harcourt, was stolen today. But however, that's not the subject of discussion. Our discussion is basically bordering on the issues affecting we as Beninese. I know very many persons would want to disagree with the fact that my views are always very controversial, but always straight to the fact and speak truth for itself. If you're watching me this evening, I believe you all know what has been going on since the issue of the Benin artifacts and very many other issues as it has to deal with the reaction to the return of our artifacts. For me to go straight to the issue, I want to begin my talk on the need for we as Beninese to be more organized at a time like this. Firstly, I would want to speak on the obvious facts available before everybody, even if very many of us will be running far from the truth. The fact be said, traditional councils of every ethnic divide in this world, in this continent called planet Earth, represents the style of governance that we operate in the various ethnic divide, the various human race, whether you are black, whether you are white, whether you are British or you are European, whether you are German or you are French. Your traditional institution represents who your society is, what the type of government is. But back here in Nigeria, we have lost great touch within the reflection of our traditional institutions and the existence of our governance as a people. And basically, as somebody who lives in our today African society, who also understands and read about the development of and the prospects and achievements of developed nations, particularly I want to use the nation of our colonial masters, particularly the British. We have seen, a well-organized traditional system in the British government that further gives back, that further, create the consciousness of inclusion. When I mean inclusion, it has to deal with the well-being, the day-to-day activities, the running and the business of government. As of today, there is no British citizen anywhere in the world that will say electricity is his problem, that will say corruption is their problem. There's no British citizen today in the world that will say education, if they so desire to be educated, is their problem. But today in this part of the world, the reverse is the case. Now, why did I start from this angle? I started from this angle because I want to narrow it down to what the situation is on ground. Some of you agree with me that even if I'm not a perfect person, at least we try to live above imperfection. We try to live above that imbalance that talks about lawlessness, that talks about total disregard for lawful and good morals as the society that we live in claim to preach. Now, we are being faced with the issue of the Benin artifact, and everybody is clamoring, oh, the governor must not walk into the issue of the Benin artifact. The governor has no right, the artifact belongs to the palace. But everybody forgets about the fact that there are monumental benefits to this artifact that will be returned that is not made public. That most people don't understand that it is the fact that because we are Beninese, it is because we come from this sovereign ethnic divide that make us to be an active participant in the business or in the issue that border of the return of the Benin artifact. Now, I want to talk closely to the extent whereby, as an organized society that we believe we are, how come the best brains, those persons who are seen to be the experts, who are seen to be the qualified ones, are not the one presiding over our affairs, are not the ones seen to be on the forefront of the burner of this artifact issue? I don't think today the Edo State governor would be talking about creating a West African museum if the Benin Traditional Council, in its wisdom over the years, knowing fully well that this artifact someday will be returned back to the people, and there shall be a benefit that will be ascribed to the fact that our artifact has generated revenue for foreign governments, aided their tourism, aided their entertainment industry, as the case may be, as to hospitality and what do you call it, as to hospitality and economic growth. Now we are expecting a Benin artifact that will be coming back to Benin. Have you heard of any committee that are born across the core Benin descendants in the 7 entire local governments of the state? Have you heard about them being set up by the traditional council to manage their affairs alongside with the leadership of the palace, alongside our monarch? The answer is no. Now, we are being greeted with a backward system of government, and where we have this backward and uncoordinated system of governance, you would want to agree with me that every system of government is a product of the traditional system that exists. Because over time, some of us growing up that understand the nitty-gritty of a society, we have always come out to say, why would our traditional institution look more into promoting the show of wealth rather than look into what will generate a better life for our people? Whether you like it or not, whether you hate me for who I am, whether you call me names, today there's one thing that is very, very prominent, that I'm even an active participant in the process of ensuring that this menace is eradicated. But despite the fight put forward with the difficult society we find ourselves, that has been able to reach out to the thick and thins, we still see this menace become the subject of today. How come in all the communities that we have the traditional institution of government, particularly when it has to do with Okaigeles, Ohens, Enoges, 89%, when I mean 89%, are grossly unenlightened fellows, are people who will not have any economic impact, who will not, enrich our sociocultural heritage with the wealth of their knowledge, are the ones manning the Rolls Royce. If you go to communities today, you see cultists, you see criminals, where they are not cultists, they are fierce looking, they are the ones manning the affairs of our local communities, that metamorphosis as a sovereign ethnic divide that we call the Benin race. And nobody is bothered. But when some of us who rise up to speak against this gross level of injustice, we are called enemies of our race. For over 6 months, some of us have been highlighting issues that are affecting the vulnerable, the very poor people in our society. Those people who made their way out of Nigeria, that Nigeria has failed to look for a better life, that are also sending back the proceeds of their risk-taking ventures. They are also sending it back as a form of investment, monetary investment to our economy. 80% of the people building houses in Benin are not making monies from Nigeria. Their resources are not derived from the Nigerian economy. Those are foreign inputs of people who live abroad. People who have told the path of, will I call it illegal migration, to get to where they are today. These are people who are the extreme poor in our society that wants a better life. Because whether you like it or not, there's no child of our traditional leadership that will toe the path of Mediterranean Sea to live in Europe today. There's no child of any of our elites, like the Eniges and the Okaigeles, that will toe the path of Libya to get to Europe, all in a bid to seek asylum or whatever. Today it is so painful that we are asylum seekers across the globe, but we fail to realize the root causes of our problems. Now, the glory of what our past, the dirty history of our past, that was a sort of invasion on us, that we see as a crime to us, that we see as a humiliation, inhuman treatment to us, that was meted on us by the British and the colonial masters and their allies, that is now returning back as a proceeds to our ethnic divide. Nobody seems to talk about the professionals. Professionals in engineering are not being captured. Professionals in governance, in law. What will engineer a society to work are not seen to be on the forefront. Rather, we are seen being greeted with the confrontation of a governor that has, without consulting as a Benin man, the totality of the Benin nation, is wanting to set up a West African museum, is wanting to have a company, a local company, that we don't know the board of directors, that we don't know the actors of this company to manage a museum for us. And we the citizens, the most painful part of it, that we the citizens are in a divide, whether for or against. But what is our core business that ought to be the welfare and the enhancement of our people is not a subject of discussion in all of this. But when some of us speak, they call us enemies of the palace. In 2012, in 2011, 2010, I was privileged to be invited by the palace and prayed for. But most people don't understand this. The history is there, the palace records are there, even if very many of our documents cannot speak for itself, but the records are there even from the palace, where the Oba prayed for us and even gave us a cow and drinks, that whatever advocacy we stand to preach as pressure group, as activists in Edo State, we shall succeed. But today, by the time some of us speak, they describe me a particular name. Do you know today that I stood firm to ask many questions a few months ago, but because people feel that it is business as usual, they forget one thing, that the advancement of society, if not properly balanced, can lead to an imbalance of destruction for tomorrow. The people don't think about it. Today we are raising an army of unemployment, we are raising an army of prostitutes, we are raising an army of cultists, we are raising an army of unemployed graduates, and before they are very clear, benefit and proceeds of what our resources, because whether you like it or not, as at the time when the British invaded us, the most expensive proceeds of our society were in the custody of the palace as the Benin people. So if when they came to take over our economic and political activities, that has been an issue with us till today, whether you like it or not, the Benin race is being made to suffer what we are facing today, because we are illustrious people who have lost its bearing from what benefit us. Even up to the 90s, an average Benin man will always have farm at the back of his house. How many Benin men do that today? It is not a source of worry to even our traditional system that our forest, our farm reserves are now hideouts for bandits, are now hideouts for hoodlums, and nobody is bothered. You hear government investing money into agriculture year in, year out. The traditional system, the traditional institutions are not carried along as an organ that ought to pilot the affairs of our state. Rather, what we see them do is sell over these lands to gain uninvested like sums. They are selling over Benin lands today. If you go to 70% of the communities where they must have finished expending all the lands they have, you don't see healthcare owned by the Benin nation, by the Benin ethnic divide. You don't see schools built by the Benin ethnic divide. You don't see hospitals built by the Benin ethnic divide. You don't see markets. You don't see roads. And we say we want to promote that Benin city that we once had. There's a big gap. I am not the solution to that gap, but having it been that we can identify that gap, we believe the way forward is to constructively engage enlightened fellows. For crying out loud, in Edo, the Benin extraction, we have the most one of the most read robotic engineers in the world, in America. Are we making use of it? We have Benisons who migrated from here to the UK, to Austria, to Germany, that are doing marvelously well international law and other forms of, diplomatic and other ties of educational prospects. Are we making use of it? The answer is no. Those of us who are from the, I call it Patako, the ordinary universities that we have around that are products, when we try to examine the level of education we have had to the society, we are being called names. There's never a time a young Benin man would excel in one endeavor that has to do with good morals that we will come out to say the traditional system must promote this one, must encourage this one. But what we hear each time is swear, swear, swear. If you are a palace, they must swear for you, they must do that. Is that what we want to be promoting in a 21st century where technology, where innovation rules the world? Today, the wealth of our ancestors, the proceeds that America and Britain and Germany and Europe and name them, they have used to create wealth for themselves through their own cultural exhibition, they are now returning it back to us, and it is causing a tussle. And we are looking for who is either for or against, forgetting about the subject matter. Today, remove those who are illegal migrants, who are asylum seekers from Benin nation. We are the most poorest society, despite the fact that we have oil, we have colomite, we have very many natural resources that are currently being tapped by the government. What are we saying about it? What are we saying about it? You can imagine where a Benin man will struggle in Europe, do charity, do all forms of illegal jobs, minimal jobs, to gather 1 million, 2 million, buy a property in Benin. And a Benin man will say, because Oba say the property will be brought down. An effort of a child who has traveled the Mediterranean Sea. And people say we should not speak truth to our conscience. I who is seated here, all because I said, I want to narrow it down so that people will understand the angle we are coming from. Because by the time some of us talk, they call us all forms of names. Just because I said that the way and manner that some group of individuals are fighting our neighboring brothers, the Shekiri at Olobo, is totally uncalled for, and we should look at better ways to harmonize our relationship as Southerners, as one big family from the Ogodomingodo, the Idu extraction, the name it, the big Oromia extraction, as we have spread all over. What do they call us? They call us enemy of the palace. I have been arrested to the highest police formation in Edo State, being the AIG Zone 5, being alleged of international terrorism. You people should hear me, oh. International terrorism. Intention to invade the Oba Benin's palace. Hear me, oh. I don't own a gun. The only thing I do is that I talk with my mouth. They allege me of threat to life. And at the end of the day, I'm very happy that an Hausa man was the AIG. I was very happy that I never met a Benin man as the AIG. Because what the intention of Frankie Rabo and Kotisubo was to remand me in prison custody and begin to boast to the Beninese on social media that they have put me where I belong. But God willing, after detailed investigation, they found out that I had nothing to do with what they were saying. If it was even Kotisubo that was threatening me, till date I have protested to the police, I have written to the police for them to charge the matter to court for false information. Nothing has taken place because of the powers that be. What society, what kind of society are we promoting for our children unborn if we decide to toe the path of this imbalance, this gross imbalance? Today, if you are trying to speak truth to power, they tell you you are an enemy of the palace. Some group of persons, in the disguise of they are seen as the custodian of the Benin race, they want to eat on you. Do you know today it is so painful that in most aboriginal communities of Benin, of in this Benin ethnic divide that we come from, and a Nigger will come out from another community on the message of our monarch, claiming, most times claiming, because I've seen so many times when the monarch will also, say such person is not a Nigger and suspend him. Say 1 mile by 1 mile, 1 mile by 2 mile to a company. They will not build healthcare, they will not build markets, they will not electrify the town, they will not do anything as to developing the aboriginal settlement of that community people. They will not do anything. But what they will do is wait for who wants to speak truth, and they will look for one way to tag him and Ohioba. At times I get baffled as a young man, because I know that the only thing education does to a human being is to give him that consciousness to know what is good and what is bad. Even if the entire society say this is bad and this is good, and the man knows that what is bad is good and what is good is bad, he comes out to speak that to the overall interest of his people. But when we say that, we are called enemies. I can go on, and in coming days, because we are not partial, I have tried to make sure that whatever thing I come to the social media to criticize, I have evidence to back it. I have been taken to police, I explain myself, I have been taken to, there's no area where they have not made efforts to intimidate some of us. But why we are still talking is because we believe there is an avenue for us to sit down as a people and ask ourselves, what is truly our problems? We have constituencies in this state. Why are we not using those 7 local governments and the over 8 to 9 constituencies that are bound in them to advance the living standard of our people, even in our rural communities? If you check the amount of monies, that Edo State government has expended before and after Oshomole government, if you add that monies together and remove the infrastructure of Ole Oshomole government, Benin City is a glorified Okorion, it's a glorified Oronigbe. If you remove it, I don't want to add the era of what Igbemodia did that we are still using till today. I don't want to add the era of what Ali did. Today we are in a Benin nation that the government is talking about model education, Edo best. A Benin man is locking a school in New Benin that was built by Anawuchi man and Esako man, depriving Benin people of going to a model school. And we are all folding our hands. But when this is the issue of artifact, we want all Benin persons to come and queue and shout. When do we resolve this imbalance? When do we take it as a duty upon ourselves to put an end to it? We are described as the heartbeat of Nigeria, not because of the length and breadth of Edo State, no, but because of the presence of the Beninese. But most people don't know these things. The values that we once had are deteriorating day in, day out. I saw a community where a house that was existing before the advent of CDA, before the advent of autonomous or communities and their celebration as to the presence of Okaigele and the rest to sell lands, this family had their ancestral great grandfather's burial in that house. A Benin family, a core Benin family, had their grandfather, great grandfather in a house. That house was demolished, and the land in which that Benin man lived was sold, and Ogyobe was sold by a small boy who finds himself to be appointed an ohe. And at the end of the day, nobody is saying anything. It happened in Okoromi. The evidences, the facts speak for itself. It's still there till tomorrow. That is the most painful part. Nobody is willing to talk. Even if this information are available before them, they just believe that they shouldn't say anything. And it's not helping us as a society. I was in Port Harcourt. I met very many Benin people who told me that, Bob, if I build a house in Benin, how much am I going to rent it? I have the house I built in Ubuyoko. I have the one I built down Ubowo. I have the one I built here. How much are they paying me for house rent? 80,000, 120. If I build that house in Asaba, or I build that house in here, I knew how much I will be collecting as rentage. But it pained them that they realized late. But the good thing is that they have realized and they are investing in where they will get value for money. Because the major thing is to benefit from your labor before you die, not tomorrow. Most of those houses, erosion cannot allow them drive to those areas. Go and look at the houses where the esteemed rich Beninese live in Benin City. There are no gutters in front of their houses. And they are being celebrated all over the world. If you think I'm lying, drive across all the house from Chief Sir Gabriel Benedion to the least Benin man that lives in GRA. Check if they have gutters in front of their houses that has an erosion control system. But they say Benin City is a city. The major roads we are currently enjoying today in Benin is not even built by a Benin man. It's an ESA command. And when we try to talk of these issues, try to conscientize our people, they call us names. Today, most people just see me as somebody they cannot talk to because they don't like my level of reasoning. But that is the truth. I don't care if you hate me, but I must tell you what is obvious. The only thing I try to work on myself on is that I try not to be too hot on it because it pains me. I try to want to talk on it on a level that anybody who listens to me, if you are with open mind, can assimilate. Today, very bad, go to Olobo. Kotisugbo, the Enogi of Olobo, they have collected millions of naira since they took over the leadership of the Shekiri communities along the riverine areas from Chief Johnson Ashelege and started dealing with NPDC. They should show me development they have attracted to Olobo communities. They should come out and show. It's not something that will be hidden. They should come out and show it to the world that this is where and where they have invested Olobo, monies in Olobo, in our communities in Olobo. This is what they have done since they got money. They should come out and show. Nothing. Those monies end up in Cubanas hotels and other big luxurious hotels that we are all talking about, because that is where they go when they have monies. They travel to Lagos, travel to Abuja, try to travel to Dubai and just want to live the life in full and come back to pose as an elite to their subjects. So when do we decide to be called Beninese and change the narrative? When? We have a governor that borrowed over 70 billion naira that accessed a loan from central bank to finance an agri-revolution oil pump project. How many Benin communities are saying that we don't want to sell our land? We want to sit down as Edo sons, as Benin people. We want to ensure that we tap 5 billion from this process, 10 billion from this process in a transparent manner, and harness oil palm production that we were once known for in Nigeria. Rather, we are folding our hands. Private investors are coming in. People from Malaysia, people from India, they are coming to run oil palm production that our fathers did without any form of technology and sold to the Portuguese. And people will say that some of us should not talk. I don't marry some of these things though. I don't marry it. But these are the obvious realities. These are the obvious realities. These are the obvious realities that the Benin nation, the only thing we know now in the 21st century is Kyoto. Kyoto. Let us sell land 50 by 30. And the worst part is that they buy second-hand vehicles. Somebody can just buy a second-hand vehicle for 100 by 100. People do that. Second-handed vehicles. They will give out 100 by 100 plot of land. In the next 3, 4, 5 years, that land is valued at 2 million. They will go back to resell again. Why would there be problem? Why would they be arrested in state CID? Go to Benin maximum prison. Go to Oko. Go to the highest tribes of people you see there are with the Beninese. I stand to be corrected. Go. It is either there is a community war that they have shot at somebody, or somebody is alleging them of cultism, or somewhere. Just make your findings. Why are we not being advised to do things the right way? Why is our traditional system not waking up and telling us this is how we must go? This is what government must do. Must it be the Ohioba issue all the time? Must it be? So these are the issues that some of us can no longer tolerate within our extraction. People are talking of artifacts, and I ask, who are those persons that want to manage our artifact coming back? Obaseki, as an economist, as somebody who understands that the Nigerian thing is done by percentage, he has quickly come out to say, oh, there's a company. How many Benin chiefs have you sat down with? How many retreats have you invited Benin people? You are doing a Lagodao, you are doing an industrial park, you are doing this, you are doing that, and you have not come out. You cannot come out. And for majority of you that, like, I try to want to follow the comments, because I think if you allow me, I can go on and on again. Like this Festus Ikbonwosa, who is talking now. He said, so you are not a Benin, so you can't speak Benin when you live in Benin City. Now, let me tell you, if you have lived 27 years of your life from one barrack to another, from one school to another, from one society to another, and your mother is not of a Benin extraction, your father is a Benin, a first man, he's always at the front, and you expect to come back home and understand your dialect in full, it is only foolishness that abides in that person's brain. Try to know the character of a man. My grandfather was the first man who left the sea to join the British Army. I am not from a family that doesn't have history. I'm not from a family that fall from sky. Very many of us who have lived know the family that I come from. The Akenswas can tell. The Gbemodias and their younger ones can tell. I'm a typical Isi man, and I'm proud of it. I have brothers who are illustrious, who are doing well in their various divides, who have made the Edo State proud. So you that is talking to me, that your family has not even contributed one thing, how do you feel you are more better than me because you speak Benin, I don't speak? Obaseki, that is the governor today, does he speak Benin? Is he not the governor of the state? Are you killing him? Is he not representing the Edo State Benin tenure for the next 4 years, and after which they promise they will take to the Ishans? So let us tell ourselves the truth. If we begin to hide under these excuses, I call it lip service excuses, that are cheap political points, we will not go anywhere as a people. We will not go anywhere as a people. So once again, my conscious Edo mind, it's my own way of speaking my own fair mind of what I believe in as a people. And I know this broadcast today will greet many reactions across divide. Many people would begin to cut and join my broadcast, just like what Abbott and his cohorts did, because of political interest that led to the fact that people were saying that I was challenging the fact why the Oba was driving Rolls Royce. They never took that clip into details and allowed it to be the subject of discussion for the entire Benin to hear. Even to date, they have tried that to damage my person on social media. They have failed woefully. Even if they were able to work on the intelligence of many Beninese who are very myopic and sentimental about our cultural heritage. They have also tried to intimidate our capacity with police and what have you. But we still live. We still exist. We are still telling them the facts that are obvious to all. So not until when we as Beninese want to sit down and discuss our issues, not when the over 40 something to 60 something words we have in Edo South, want to sit down as people from various communities and various clans to talk about what affects us as a people. We are not moving forward, and we will not move forward. I just told you we have a loan, accessible loan, that was granted to us by the CBN governor, who is our brother from the car divide from Aboye, who the governor approached, and because of the interest of we the Beninese, it was approved. Which most people don't know, 80% of that fund will be sited in Edo South. So who gets the proceeds? But we ourselves, we have educationists, people who are sound agriculturists, who are known, who are good in their profession. Are we promoting them to do what will become our own tomorrow? Are we? Rather, we have a government who has invested in electricity and our streets are so dark. Even in the 18th century, Benin City was known for its beautiful state of lightning at night. Where are all those innovations? Where are all those smartness? Do you know we are living much more difficult now than we used to live in the early age before the colonial masters came? We are much more backward. The other day I was in my village and I laughed and I said, come. But I saw what my brother was doing and I said, I need to come and put a farm here that brings me here. If not, at the end of the day, if it's only politics, only God knows what will happen. But I need to have something that I will talk about. So it is not just me, it is not just you, it is our problem. So we must get high time to speak. It is not only when there is an issue that affects individual. I would want to stop at this bus stop because if I'm allowed to take the floor for long, I would really say things that are touchy. So once again, I just want us as Benin people to understand that we can live a better life. I just want us as Benin people to understand that we must begin to support what is of good morals than what is of secrecy and evil that only benefit a certain set of individuals. Today you have niggas that own car stands all over with fairly used cars while our lands are being sold away for life. Why can't we use those farms and use the proceeds our governments are collecting, to better the loss of our children unborn? What has Okomu Oil do that with the manpower we have in Benin? We cannot say we should advance agriculture the way we are advancing VGN. Everybody wants to be a VGN today to carry illegal pump action. The way they are doing it in Benin is different from the way it's being done in other parts of the state. So these are the issues. So if you have watched me, I would not want to spend much time. At this juncture, I want to plead with you. For those of you who are watching me, today, earlier hours of the day, we advertised a Edo estate we are coming up with as a settlement for those who intend to own properties in River State. Today we're in Port Harcourt. We visited one of our sites in Ukpolu, and we are also working on other ways to visit other sites, in other areas. So if you are, not privileged to have gotten that information, it is currently on my wall. If you watch it, please share it. It's a genuine process where you can own a property, a very lucrative property that in the next 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 years, if you decide to sell it, you can get double the amounts that you bought it from. So that is why we are showing you these properties, because they are things that are viable and can promote a resourcely life and an economic growth for our people. So it's our own way of appreciating our own people, and also keeping us on the front pages of our phones to speak what we know as an advocacy and also as a better way for us as a people. So if you are also an Edo illustrious son, let us try to talk. If you know you have something upstairs, I cannot know you all, but media, is the person who fronts first that knows it. So if you watching us and you want to partake in owning a property in these choice areas we have just mentioned, please do us a favor by reaching us on our social media handle. And if you have my number ending with 1993, I just told you it was stolen, but other of my contacts are very open and very accessible to anybody or group of persons that intend to reach out to me. But firstly, you can always reach me on my Facebook handle, Emmanuel S. Aibogun, as I'm popularly known on Facebook. So once again, I say a big thank you to you. And for those people who are still living under the guise of hate, for those people who are still not peculiar with the fact that we live on a gunpowder, if not properly managed, can bring a total degradation and a failure of our society. I am Emmanuel Aibogun is what advanced my cause and that of my society. That is my core concern. If you have just heard me, feel free to contact me anytime on Facebook Messenger, and I want to plead with you to share today's broadcast, because we believe this is our own simple way of contributing to the generality of our society. I am Emmanuel S. Aibogun. All I want to say for now is bye and say God bless you. Good night.
Now we don't hear from Emmanuel Agbogun. Let us know what you think for comment section. If you never subscribe to Dan ARG YouTube, try make you subscribe so that make you for the hear all the things wey dey happen for Nigeria. Make I leave you with this video, make you help us share am. Thank you for watching Dan ARG YouTube.